All right, we're going to make this fast for Glenn's sake, so Glenn can get busy with other stuff. So let's see. I'll just start taking minutes. Let's see. Call to order at 4:04. We have no public comment. Anybody online, Glenn?
Hold on. Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay, so we have no public comment because no one from the public has joined us. Next on my list is broadband news. I have some stuff that I think is worth sharing with you guys. The FCC has green-lighted to discontinue analog copper-based solutions.
No more pots.
They want to aim they're motivated to make it simpler on the telecoms to remove the copper.
It's like death of DSO, finally.
Well, it will be the death of DSL, yeah, that's about the only thing left besides your home line.
Maybe some ISDN.
The FCC has also ordered that call centers be moved back to the US. So that's significant because everybody in 2005-06 moved off to India. So now they're going to mandate that US companies have to be in the US. So we'll be hearing more about that, but that is significant for us to know about. SCOTUS, the Supreme Court unanimously ruled in Cox's favor on a case with the RIA. This is the incumbent organization that handles.
Recording Industry of America, right?
Well, RIA sued Cox and won, I think it was $1 million judgment, holding Cox responsible for customers that were downloading content, i.e.
Pirated
music and the like. And Cox argued that they couldn't be held accountable for what you do at home. So anyway, the SCOTUS has ruled in their favor, so that's significant. The House is expected to pass a satellite broadband bill. It's a study to examine whether regional commissions can incorporate LEO satellites into broadband efforts. So again, you're going to hear a lot more about that, and you're going to see a flavor for some of the stuff that I'm bringing up today. Satellite is going to become the 800-pound gorilla before it's all said and done.
Yeah, and so as we think about BEAD and a lot of what we've done around physical layer subsidizing, like, are we just going to subsidize dishes at this point in the install?
Well, that's an interesting question. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So hold your comment. Let's see if I answer it for you on a few down. On the BEAD front, Tamara Holmes, Dr. Holmes, who was running the BEAD program for Virginia, has been promoted. She's now the director of the Department of Housing and Community Development. So Chandler Vaughn, who was her assistant, has been temporarily tapped to lead as the acting director of the Office of Broadband. So things are running smoothly, things are continuing on progress. In fact, Tom Ennis had nothing but nice things to say about the VA BEAD office, so we'll see if anything happens there that we're concerned about. Okay, the VA BEAD program itself, Virginia was awarded $545 million for BEAD. There are 23 internet providers and 85,000 remaining unserved to be covered in this effort. So it's a huge effort by the state.
And with the advent of the decree to get rid of copper for last mile, it's going to be all fiber.
Well, I think that what you'll see is in fact, there's an item about my concern about who remains unserved on broadband, and the fact that that's an issue. Whether or not it will be for us to do, I'm not sure, but we'll see how this pans out this year. On March 24th, the FCC has banned new foreign-made Wi-Fi routers. All foreign-made Wi-Fi
Not
routers.
TP-Link anymore.
The problem with that is that no routers are made in the United States.
Not even, no chips are made in the United States anymore.
Most of the business level routers aren't made in the United States. So we're gonna, I'm perplexed. I don't know how that works. But anyway, it's a mandate, so we'll see what happens. This is definitely field of dreams kind of stuff,
Internet's dead.
We'll put the law out there and they'll respond. SpaceX made the news on so many levels that it's not even funny. It's emerging as a growing competitive threat to traditional broadband. They have done lots of things in the last couple months that make it so. One industry analyst states, SpaceX's Starlink is emerging as a growing competitive threat to traditional broadband providers as the satellite service expands beyond rural markets, according to industry analysts. Part of this is they now have an antenna that's like this small.
Well, the Gen 3 dish, with KU multiplexing, you can do 462
Yeah.
megabits down.
They've
That's
got
crazy.
mobile technologies. I can tell you, I was on a cruise in South America and never without broadband the entire time. Quite extraordinary, and thanks to Starlink. And he goes on, Hans Gerdes goes on to say, I think every fixed broadband operator should be worried. That's certainly true and not true, because anybody that's worked with wireless technologies know that in Virginia, for example, we have these things called trees. And, in the wintertime, performance can be quite wonderful on wireless. And in the summer, when those leaves come out on the trees, it's an entirely different world.
And
So
a
there's-
wet pine tree is the worst thing in the world.
yeah, so we have a lot more to see about that. In the meantime, Starlink has some new pricing out for new customers. Residential, 100 meg service, $35 a month, it was $50. 200 meg service, $65 a month, it was $80. And their max product is $105, down from $120. The significance of this is only for new customers. It's not offered to anybody that is a customer. BEAD winners, according to an article I read, are fretting over the cost of fiber. One of the outcomes of what's happened in the economy is fiber manufacturers, they have projected confidence in where the market is, but we're still, the different providers are worried about being able to get it. Excuse me, we'll talk more about that with an update on APB as well.
Is that related more to the AI/hyperscaler side of the house and just AI eating the world because we have memory storages and other things we're dealing with in enterprise IT right now?
I don't know specifically. I mean, it's going to be a demand thing, and certainly AI is going to feed that. So we'll have to see what it means. But theoretically, the products that Corning sells to bury or hang from the telephone poles is not the stuff used in the data centers, and so,
Well, there's a lot of outside plant there. that-
Yeah, there is.
That's the Corning play.
yeah, so common land, yeah. Light Reading had an article that talked about the BEAD winners fretting over this, and they went on to talk about different positions from different providers. They didn't tie it at all to AI. They just talked about the size of BEAD. Virginia, 85,000 customers. And for us, a very large portion of that would be fiber on companies like All Points Broadband. Even a lot of the larger incumbent cable companies are converting to fiber backbone these days. Okay, on the negative side, digital equity, the White House has asked Congress to claw back the digital equity funding. And this is the interesting point that ties back to what you asked. There's an estimated 12.7 million senior citizens in the United States that do not have a broadband subscription. 7.2 million seniors have no computer or tablet. So what that means is roughly 5 million, 5.5 million broadband users are out there that probably need some help with covering the costs on their broadband service. So, now, the other thing that I did not bring up here, the other one that's kind of interesting, that's most recent, is Starlink has filed a complaint with the FCC over the launch of the Amazon satellites, which is real interesting because a company called SpaceX is doing a lot of those launches for Amazon because Blue Horizon doesn't have enough launches. So Amazon has literally tied up every available slot on launch pads for the remainder of 26 into 2027, trying to play catch-up.
They've got to hit the FCC license
Now,
window they got.
the other interesting fact that I read just last night, I think, is that there's now credit being given to the fact that the satellite provider that has entertainment, has packaging capability, will have an enormous benefit over other incumbent providers. And if you think about Amazon with Amazon Prime and Amazon Video and Amazon Music and Amazon Library and all these things, they have the ability to put a package together if and when they have a product. Starlink's problem with them is that the sky is cluttered with Starlink satellites, and they think that could be problems with Amazon in the neighborhood. So we'll have to see about that. But the point of all this is we have an awful lot that we need to be paying attention to in broadband, and certainly satellite, as you heard from all those announcements, is taking up a large piece of that.
Are you also seeing or hearing anything around fixed wireless evolutions from cellular carriers? So AT&T especially, and Verizon actually.
Well, as was reported last meeting, the fixed wireless space, VABB dropped out. I can't remember the name of the firm, but there's a Saluda business that's picked up and serving those customers. So fortunately for us, it took some of the slack off of the 39 customers that remained in Loudoun County, or excuse me, in Lancaster County. So the problem was covered. But as far as fixed wireless is concerned, it's not a major entity. You know, you hear about fixed wireless, but my perspective, I did some early tests to date this back when fixed wireless was running at T1 speed. And the problem is that everything was a forklift upgrade. And that is the problem we have today. If you want to go to a faster service, you've got to replace the antennas, you've got to replace the base stations, you've got to do all that work. So it's like building a totally new network every time you deploy a technology.
Yeah, these are more from it's not a fixed wireless as like point to point. This is
Yeah.
more of a cellular-based fixed wireless.
Yeah, you're talking
Cellular
tower-based.
is coming up, they haven't,
It's big in the metro areas.
It's-
It's coming that
Well,
way.
yeah.
It's basically, what you call it, they've been doing it forever in the cities.
It's-
Well,
it's
we've had
basically
fixed
5G
wireless,
with
we've had,
It's a fixed base station, 5G essentially.
yeah. And we're still using,
Which-
um,
It's actually available in this area. Like, you can go to Verizon and get the 5G base station for your house. I know a couple of people that live over towards Westmoreland that use it, because they get good signal from the Dahlgren Tower. And it's already an available option. It's just whether y'all, like 5G, we have 5G here, but do you actually get a web page when you try to bring it up on 5G here? Switch over to the 4G, force your phone to, and stuff starts working again. So 5G is higher frequency, so limited,
Limited distance.
yeah, so.
Yeah, we've got some 5G, but the system is, there's still a lot of piece parts that are 4G. Yeah, and microwave is still, I mean, if you look around, the satellite, or excuse me, the towers, almost all have microwave dishes on them. They're still transmitting microwave, not over cellular or over fiber, cell to cell. Big cities, it's all fiber. So, you know, we'll have to see where this goes, but microwave still is a viable solution, and therefore, some form of fixed wireless will be a viable solution too. Okay, for BEAD updates this month, I spoke last night with Tom Ennis at APB. Right now, the plan is out for public comment. I believe he said through Friday. So after Friday, the public comment closes. But as far as he's concerned, things are on schedule. I asked him what's keeping him awake, and believe it or not, diesel is keeping him awake. You know, we've had increases. Just a couple months ago, diesel was $4 a gallon. Right now, it's running about $6.50. So when you think about everything moving on trucks at those kind of prices, that's a big hit. Not to mention the installer trucks that run on diesel as well.
The ditch witch, the borer.
The ditch witches, the tractors, everything. So, and, you know, by the way, all their prices were set. Nobody saw this coming. So we'll see if that causes issues, but right now, he's not overly concerned. I asked him if APB was seeing any issues with respect to materials, and he said none that he was aware of. So again, it's probably way too early. I suspect what's going to happen, the orders go in, and somebody like Corning says, you know, we're delayed a month or a quarter or whatever. So more to come on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, like the few cable barrier contractors I know, I've never, all those guys are just picking up spools after spools, laying it down like crazy. So, 'cause I know a few guys that do that, and they haven't had a supply issue yet. I think it's a predictive supply issue. So,
All right, so on to administrative. February minutes approval. Any comments, concerns, changes to the
I think the
minutes?
biggest thing is in your absence, we re-elected you as the head.
yeah,
of
we
the-
did do that too.
I knew because I wasn't here, I figured what was gonna happen,
Yeah,
so.
So welcome.
Yeah,
Again.
thank you,
You were not.
and thank you for all serving again. So all in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. All right, last thing I've got, Kevin, budget update.
Nothing has changed on our internal county budget at all. We're still only $401 spent year to date. And budget cycle's getting ready to come to an end, so just be aware. Well, we got 2 more months, 3 more months, 2 more
Yeah,
months.
May is, April, May.
Yeah.
Did you get any traction on the Chesapeake Bank thing with the interest
We
bearing
were
account?
just talking about that,
Has not been handled yet.
but we're Thursday next week.
Next week.
We're at least going to the bank to get signature cards done. Are you available?
Next Thursday?
Yeah.
I can be, yeah.
All right, if we can't get in touch with Russell, then you'll probably be the go-to.
Okay.
All right, and then we're gonna try to get Mr. Geezy locked down for Thursday too, Thursday in the morning. Right, good on that?
Prefer morning, yes.
Yes, prefer morning. County-wise, nothing's changed, and our private in-bank account is $66,636.01, and nothing on that's changed either. It's the exact same amount. And that's all we got.
Yeah, and I traded messages with Don Gill. We won't hear anything till the end of May on the budget. That's when the supervisors will vote. I submitted a request for half the funding from last year, and frankly, as I articulated to the board, that's because we had this pole fixed wireless solution that's out there that last year we couldn't find anybody to support it. So we have these poles. As far as I'm concerned, they can stay in the parking lots where they are. But I did have one church that contacted me, and I told them we were still trying to find somebody to run the service for us. So now that we're not running the service, they may come back and say, come and get your pole. So
Can we
that
just-
was a major expense item I put in. I figured, it could cost 15 grand to remove the poles.
Like a crane rental or
They're,
something.
they're not that big.
So we'll see. So other than that, the other thing that I told the Board of Supervisors is that this organization stands, and this could be the last year for this organization, depending on where future grants go. Because I don't see this organization continuing as it exists if there's no more grant process beyond BEAD. So that was just a personal statement that I put out there, but I wanted to make you all aware of that as well.
It realistically makes sense. Probably, but the county probably always needs to at least keep like a committee. It doesn't necessarily need to be an authority.
I think there's a need for representation, as I mentioned. I think I left a note for you guys last month that I agreed to step up and help John Bateman with some activities. And I think that's important. There is a relationship between what we're trying to do with the consumer side of broadband and the business side of broadband. At some point, I believe we will have open competition in this county. I want open competition in this county. I think it's healthy. But we've got to get to the point where people have choices, and right now, we have too many people that have no choice, have no broadband. So let's fix that, and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
And
What are we down to? Like 500 people or 500 locations that are unserviced?
It was somewhere around that. I think that was the meeting we had two cycles ago.
Yeah,
looking at
I
that.
believe so.
Is there any appetite to go back and look at areas like, so obviously, like, I have breeze line, but I don't have fiber, and it's just standard HFC, breeze line from years ago. Is there an attempt to go back from APB or others and build out those last miles to those already serviced locations? Where there's no fiber?
it will come.
Okay. So I'd love to see a fiber spur come down our road.
APB sent a postcard out. I told you guys back in December, they sent me a postcard. As of 2 weeks ago, I'm an APB customer, so I cut off Breeze Line and moved to APB.
And
I would too.
Breeze Line offered, they had a price point, we'll give you gigabit for $59, just don't leave us. The problem is, the reliability has gone so far down the road now. And Breeze Line's mantra is, let's roll a truck, problem's obviously at your house. And so every time, they come out a week after whatever problem has been noted, and there's no trouble found, and nothing ever happens. And the problem is that they're gonna need to upgrade, hybrid. HFC is the answer. They've upgraded some of the backbone, but most of that coax hanging from the poles is, Metronet, 30-year-old fiber or coax.
APB's plan is, with what they are allowed to communicate with us, has always been, as soon as the grants are done, package done, state can't say anything, they're gonna start extending their networks from where they were currently, where they could not go.
Yeah,
Because they have a lot of, like, you're an APB customer, we're allowed to service, BreezeLine customer, we were allowed to service the guy on the other side of you, so we ran down the road right past you but couldn't offer to you. a lot of that, but if you look in their infrastructure, you can see where they had breakout boxes. Like, they're like, oh yeah, there's 6 houses here, we're gonna put a 6 gang here, or there's 10 houses here, we'll put a 10 gang. So that has been their supposed silent promise, I guess you would say, that they, as soon as they were done with legal requirements with the state, that they would start pushing their network out further.
Well, and what's likely to occur is that the nature of competition will convene on the county, and All Points Broadband is well-placed to take care of that.
And APB is too. I mean, not APB, I mean, Breezeline is too, if they just upgrade their infrastructure.
Well, yeah, Breezeline has to do a capital expenditure that they have not invested in the county.
I mean, we have a 10 gig circuit from them.
And, consequently, they didn't actively pursue B. They only went after 2 customers for B. I was shocked.
I don't think they thought there was gonna be anybody else coming. I think they pretty much thought they had it, and then this committee was like, oh no, we're gonna go get some more people, and we only got APB, but still, we're far further ahead than what it would have been if we would have just left it to its devices.
Well, and you heard on the roadmap from the gentleman that presented, that they're gonna do 10 gig to your house.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
It's not like, so the industry-wise, you know, the 10 gig to the house, it's like, okay, because all you're doing is change this little optic for me. Like, realistically, it's not that big of an investment. They can say what they want, but, I mean,
You've got the fiber in the
a
ground.
10
to
gig
support it.
G-Bic nowadays is like
Well,
$90.
The big cost, and I will tell you, in my installation of All Points Broadband, they ran a single-mode fiber all the way from a junction box on another road to my
your
house.
house, yeah, that big.
And I told Tom, I said, you missed an opportunity. There's more houses up the street. You should have run multi-mode fiber and put in a junction
Or
box.
just multi-mode,
Or just
multi-strand
multi-strand
singles.
SMF, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably cheaper than the multi-mode itself, and it's crazy, just like from our head end at the high school, the new high school, we have 72 fibers that run to the field house.
Yeah, I split a 144 up for you.
Because it's just as cheap to tunnel for one as it is for the other.
But that's what I was getting at. The
Yeah.
real cost for deploying is burying. And by the way, Dominion is starting to bury electricity around here.
Oh.
They're going into neighbors and burying stuff. So I think we're at the crossroads. If you also watch, you'll hear a lot of
Next
it.
Thursday
pole,
morning, are you free?
Pole attachment and the costs.
I think so.
And that's been a big thing that the
Are you going to get
FCC's
him on
been
a
dealing
signature
with,
card?
because
And
it
We could all meet
slows
up
up
there.
the deployment on these BEAD
9 o'clock.
contracts. But the bottom line
What,
is
9?
that replacing poles
Just
is
the main
expensive
branch.
work. So all of a sudden,
Yeah.
I think the cost point for burying has caught up with the pole costs. So we'll see. Burying is good for everybody because it doesn't break as much when it's in the ground.
It's good for the environment too. We don't spray a bunch of chemicals all over the world, killing all the trees and
Yeah.
weeds and stuff.
Yeah.
I lived in Hawaii for a while, everything's buried.
There you go.
Except for in the commercial districts.
Anything else for the cause?
I was curious if, Mr. Geesey, did you get your service to your location?
I have not, because it's on me right now, because I got tax season, but after April 15th, that's gonna be one of my first things to do. I just haven't had a chance to pound them since then, so. But I will let you know when I do, as far as that, so. But yeah, I'm buried up to here right now in taxes, so. Although the light is getting a little bit brighter to the end of the tunnel,
Well,
so.
good for you.
So I hope.
Such a
I
great
say
time.
that and it'll always bite you in the rear end, you know.
So question for you before we adjourn.
Uh-huh.
Is next Thursday a good day, Thursday AM, to
Yeah.
hit Chesapeake Bank?
He was just telling me that's what I was putting it on my calendar. Yeah, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock?
Yep. Yep, I will put it on there. That will work for me.
I'm not sure what kind of shape I'll be in, because I'm not sure when I'll get home on Wednesday night, but I'll be there.
Well, that's why I asked you if Thursdays were good.
No,
And I
it's
was like,
fine.
hold on,
It's
he's
fine.
Traveling.
I got a dog that paws the bed at 6 a.m., so
Dog's like,
I'm up.
I'm ready to go out, yo.
Well, you gonna be out of town?
Yeah, I got to go to Denver.
Oh. I guess you gotta worry if the plane gets back right.
Hopefully. They're pretty reliable. All right, so motion to adjourn?
I second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much for your time.